Good evening, dear friends, and thank you once again for joining me for our live bi-weekly meditation and Dharma talk. I'm Vladimir, and I'm with the Blue Lotus Meditation, or Mindfulness and Meditation Center here in Brainerd, Minnesota. Today is October 5th, 2020, about 6 p.m. And yes, I do enjoy my Jaws, one of my favorite movies. Let's begin with a nice, quiet and peaceful, positive, reassuring meditation towards ourselves and towards others. Some of you may have done similar meditations like this before and probably be no different. If not, if this is your first time, welcome. Certainly welcome. I'm glad to have you here. If this is your first time, one of the most common questions I get is am I breathing correctly? And yes, you may find me looking back and forth. All right, I've got two cameras up again. Such a good turnout using the Facebook Live last week and the Instagram Live and off the YouTube channel. But anyway, I digress. Let's go into the meditation and sit nice and comfortably. And close your eyes and begin to relax. Try to clear your thoughts if you can, and if not, that's okay too. We'll get there. You can start off with a nice deep inhalation. Nice little pause, and then an exhale. You can exhale through your nose or through your mouth, whatever comes naturally to you. Inhale. And exhale. If this is the beginning of your day, what a great way to start, right? Great way to start with just nice quiet meditation before all the day's activities begin. Inhale. And an exhale. If this is at the end of your day, what a great way it is to end your day with some peace and calm, and the quietness and the tranquility that you deserve. Inhale. And exhale. I'm going to do a little mantra that I find very helpful and positive, and actually I find it very powerful. That's probably a better word. Very powerful mantra. And we can think about different people in our lives. Doesn't matter who they are. Anyone. We can think of this person, and you can think of yourself too. It's not selfish to think of yourself. In order to help others, sometimes you have to help yourself too. So that's perfectly acceptable to think of yourself as well. But think of this other person, and then as you inhale, you can think, may they have peace. And then on your exhale, nice relaxed exhale. On your next inhalation, may they have joy. And exhale. May they have compassion. So we can do a may they have peace. May they have joy. May they have compassion. May they have peace. May they have joy. May they have compassion. May they have peace. May they have joy. May they have compassion. Now, what I would like for you to do is think about someone else in your life. Go and do the same for them. So someone new, think about their face. May they have peace. May they have joy. May they have compassion. May they have peace. May they have joy. May they have compassion. May they have peace. May they have joy. May they have compassion. Now let's think of one other person in our life. One other person that we would love to spread this positivity to. Everyone is deserving of positivity and love. So one more person. And inhale. May they have peace. May they have joy. May they have compassion. May they have peace. May they have joy. May they have compassion. May they have peace. May they have joy. May they have compassion. May they have peace. May they have joy. May they have compassion. Let's sit here for a few more moments. We can begin to open our eyes and bring ourselves back to where we are, to the present moment. You may find some with that particular guided meditation. You may find some variations towards it. And some of them may say, pick a positive person, your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, someone, a neutral person, the mailman, the store clerk, and so forth, or even a negative person or challenging person in your life. I have begun, and the good thing about mindfulness and meditation is none of it's dogmatic, right? None of it's dogmatic. We can, I don't want to say pick and choose, but we can modify it to suit the positivity and the loving kindness. So what I have begun to explore is there aren't any neutral people, and there aren't any negative people or challenging people. And I consider them all deserving of love and the compassion that we all have within us and that we can share towards others. So I've kind of eliminated that, kind of removed that. I think everybody has a lesson to teach us. And when we share the love and compassion towards them, not only do we strengthen them, we strengthen ourselves. So that's why I've kind of modified that a little bit. Just in case some of you may be wondering if you've, maybe practiced that slightly differently. And that's okay. If that works for you, that works for you. And that's perfectly fine. Well, what I'd like to focus a little bit more on for our talk here is the Dhammapada. And these are the actual sayings of the Buddhas. A lot of times you may find, memes out there, right, with various quotes and sayings attributed, to the Buddha or to anybody else, right? They certainly love to, make memes of people these days. And, some of them are true, some of them are not true, some of them are half true. And I think it's always important to go back to the source sometimes. Well, not all the time, really, right? To go back to the source to get the original intentions and the meanings. And so, if you're interested, this is it's a public domain book. You can certainly buy it off of Amazon or, your favorite bookstore, preferably your local bookstore, right? Small businesses. But you can download it for free. It's a It's a free one, and I've actually put since it's in the public domain, I've put a version on our website for you to download. And what I would like to do is so I don't misquote or misspeak or represent the Buddha's words, I will directly read from this, and we'll talk about it because it's important. It's an important topic. It's on violence. All right, we live in a pretty violent world. There's some. There's always something going on, and violence isn't always, hitting. A lot of it's verbal, right? Maybe someone has been in an abusive verbal relationship. So there's all kinds of violence out there. Part of our mindfulness practice is to follow our own path of enlightenment and peacefulness and our understanding in our relationships to not only ourselves, but to the world and the universe around us. And so what I would like to do is just read from this, and then we'll talk about it a little bit as we go along. And so this is directly from the Dhammapada, Violence. It's Unit 10, Chapter 10. All beings tremble before violence. All fear death. All love life. See yourself in others. Then whom can you hurt? What harm can you do? He who seeks happiness by hurting those who seek happiness will never find happiness. For your brother is like you. He wants to be happy. Never harm him. And when you leave this life, you too will find happiness. Never speak harsh words, for they will rebound upon you. Angry words hurt, and the hurt rebounds. Like a broken gong, be still, be silent. Know the stillness of freedom when there is no more striving. Like herdsmen driving their cows into the fields, old age and death will drive you before them. But the fool in his mischief forgets, and he lights the fire wherein one day he must burn. He who harms the harmless or hurts the innocent, 10 times shall he fall into torment or infirmary, injury or disease or madness, persecution or fearful accusation, loss of family, loss of fortune. Fire from heaven shall strike his house, and when his body has been struck down, he shall rise in hell. He who goes naked with matted hair, mud bespattered, who fasts and sleeps on the ground, and smears his body with ashes, and sits in endless meditation, so long as he is not free from doubts, he will not find freedom. But he who lives purely and self-assured, in quietness and virtue, who is without harm or hurt or blame, even if he wears fine clothes, so long as he also has faith, he is a true seeker. A noble horse rarely feels the touch of the whip. Who is there in this world as blameless? Then like a noble horse, smart under the whip, burn and be swift. Believe, meditate, see. Be harmless, be blameless, awake to the law, and from all sorrow, free yourself. The farmer channels water to his land. The fletcher whittles his arrows. The carpenter turns his wood. And the wise man masters himself. So, those are words directly from the Buddha himself, talking about violence. If anyone was wondering some of those words, Fletcher, right? Maybe somebody may not be familiar with the word Fletcher. Fletcher is a person who makes arrows. Right? Fletcher is a person who makes arrows. And the law they are referring to is not necessarily, the written law. They're talking about Buddhist law and the loving kindness, not, necessarily speeding down the road or something like that, right? But violence in our actions. I remember being bullied as a kid, growing up where I grew up. It wasn't easy with my name, right? In an all-American neighborhood, and me with a European name, Vladimir, right? Everybody else's name, Jason and Michael and Mark and so forth. I was bullied a little bit, plus my interests. I was always big into science, and the other kids necessarily weren't. I don't think I was ever physically beaten up, but words hurt. I still remember it. That was a violent action, non-physically, but still in my mind. But there were kids, who were, maybe a little bit more different and, who were picked on. And I'm sure that, those events were certainly traumatic for them as well. And it goes on into adulthood. Certain relationships that we get involved in can be violent, and it's important for you to understand that if you are in one of those relationships, to leave. All right? If you're the parent, you don't want your children in that type of environment either. So it's important to leave. Violence begets violence. Violence begets violence. And we would be teaching our children that cycle of violence, which is very hurtful in many, many ways towards a young mind and towards the adult mind as well. Violence in words. I also work with people who have had traumatic experiences and PTSD or trauma experiences. Again, they're not all necessarily. You don't have to be in the service, in the Marine Corps, or in the military to have PTSD. And it's important to remember that trauma is not what you think it is. It's what that person who experienced it, that's trauma to them. So when we see words, especially a lot on the internet, snowflake, right? That other person is not experiencing what that other person is feeling. That can be very traumatic to the person who is out there, maybe demonstrating for equality and equanimity towards others. And the person sitting in some chat room someplace calling them a snowflake. For whatever reason, it doesn't have to be one of those protesters, but for any type of person who feels some kind of an emotional connection towards some type of action, They're not snowflakes, they're people. And belittling someone for how they feel is a violent action that we should not be expressing towards someone else. We should be asking, how can we help? Why does this person feel this way? And what we can do as loving, caring, kind individuals can do to help this person or this cause. So our actions have consequences. And many times, we see very unkind words. We may ourselves have certainly at some time, maybe before we have started our mindfulness practice, have used them towards others. Be mindful of how that other person feels. We may say them as a joke. In fact, a lot of students I have, some of the comments that they relate to me were from people who said something to them as a joke many years ago. And so we may think it's a joke, but the other person who is experiencing that traumatic event feels something else. And it's not fair for us to, you should, to minimize them and just say, toughen up. They shouldn't have to toughen up. You should be more sensitive. Not you per se. I hope you're being the mindful practitioner. I think you're good, aware of our comments. So, and it's okay to say something. Say, hey, that comment was inappropriate towards someone else. Think about their feelings. That's how we overcome and spread mindfulness and loving kindness throughout the world, by being the example. It doesn't take very many overt acts, right? You don't have, or grandiose acts. We don't have to be that way. We can be very kind and gentle and let that be the example. We don't have to use fancy sayings. We don't have to sit under a tree. We don't have to drink, herbal tea or anything like that to be mindful. We just have to let our loving kindness towards ourselves and for other beings on this planet come forth. And I kind of started thinking about, I was looking outside the other day, and some, they're not dandelions, but kind of like, you can think of a dandelion if you like, when they get the little puff balls at the top and they start blowing their seeds, right? That's how they reproduce, right? They put their seeds out there in the wind. Mindfulness can be the same way. We can promote mindfulness, not necessarily, with, like I said, fancy sayings, prophetic sayings, but in our actions. And our actions, I would hope, always originate with the loving kindness that we experience and feel in our hearts. Because every person on this planet, every single person on this planet wants to feel loved and warmth. And every single person is deserving of it. That's my message for this week. And I certainly appreciate every single one of you who joins me. And I really thank you for following me and joining me, during our bi-weekly sessions. And I would like to promote one more item before I do leave. We are accepting donations for our groundwater well at the meditation and the mindfulness center. so practitioners can stay, maybe overnights and everything, and we don't have to bring in, clean water all the time. And I've gotten a few donations so far, and I'm wholeheartedly grateful for those, helping us achieve our goal to help the community as well practice mindfulness. So feel free to subscribe to our monthly newsletter as well off the website. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like, if you feel so inclined. And I wish you all a peaceful and fulfilling, and a day filled with joy and compassion and love. And spread that joy and compassion and love towards others. Thank you.